We just gonna start with the biggest story. Coach Udoka of the Boston Celtics has been suspended for a year for they're claiming it was a consensual sexual relationship, but now, as we were talking backstage, it seems like every day is something deeper coming out about it. It started off, it was one of the staffers, then come to find out it's somebody's wife, the higher ups in the business. Then I just found out today a player might have outed the situation. It's a lot, man. What's your take on it, John?
Is for me because a lot more, like you said, a lot more is going to come out about this. So I'm sure we'll talk about it again. But for me, is so I don't want to speculate on anything yet until we actually have the facts. But where does this? My question is, where does this leave Seattle, Boston? Where does
Mm,
this leave the Celtics?
yeah,
Um, it's can they, because now somehow, I don't know how, right, after the finals, Golden State is the favorite to win the next championship, but somehow, despite not making really that many moves or any really, and Golden State has several guys returning from injury that they didn't have, somehow now Boston is the favorites to win the finals. Like they're the somehow over the last few months they've turned into the favorites. Now I don't see how that can be. Like, there's no way they're the favorites now. I mean, I don't know where this puts them. That's my question for y'all: is it does Boston have a chance?
before you answer that, Walt, what's your take on the situation?
I mean, honestly, I just feel like it's a terrible situation for for both Adoku and the Boston Celtics whole organization. I should say, just how the organization handled the whole entire situation.
Yeah,
Um, going off base what John was saying. This like just how they were being a contender. They were just literally a contender last year. In the finals last year, I should say, literally like what was it, game 6, game 7 away from possibly winning the championship. So
mm,
just for all this to happen, and just a matter of a couple months, because I mean that what just happened in June, that they just lost in the finals. So I mean, they really haven't came out and said like how long everything has been going on or whatever like that. But to lose your head coach, who literally just got you to the finals, and to possibly have to just have your interim coach, I forgot who they said they assigned to the head coaching position now. I think they said it was the assistant head coach, if I'm not mistaken, but I forgot his name. Excuse me for bombing your name, but I ain't going to try it. But just that's gonna take. I just feel like that's gonna take a lot of momentum away from the Celtics now, just because Doku was just that. I feel like he was that key piece to the Celtics, I should say, just because of his coaching style from going back to the San Antonio days, like being in the pot for so long. So I'm not really sure, what the guy's resume is, who's taking over, what I'm saying, what he's really done. But I really feel like that's going to hurt him. And I really don't feel like they're going to make the finals next year, just based off of, coaching. Because I really feel like coaching plays a big part into, throughout the season, because you're going to go through a lot of ups and downs. So I definitely feel like it's going to be tough for the Boston Celtics this year. And just like I said, based off our organization, man, I really don't understand why the organization handled it this way and having a press conference about this whole thing. I just really feel like they should have kept it inside and handled it like that instead of make it public. But that's just me personally.
yeah.
That's what it sounds like. Is that
Yeah.
they're
Real
not?
quick, real quick. Hold on. They said the new head coach is Joe Mazzulla.
Joe Mazzulla. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, he's the new intern head coach of the Celtics. So
Okay. Like I said, I'm not really what his resume is. I can look it up. As you guys talk, but it's just gonna be a difficult season for the Celtics, though. But yeah, go ahead, John. I know you had something to say real quick.
Yeah, happy Sunday. Because I was thinking actually names. I mean, his name is Ime Sunday Udoka. But yeah, it's for me, man. Like, the Boston has been through, I don't want to say like turmoil, but I mean they've been through a lot of ups and downs roster wise, right? And it hasn't made a difference. I mean, they made the playoffs. Avery Bradley was their best player. The next year, Isaiah Thomas, they win. They're first in the East. Isaiah Thomas is an MVP candidate. Then they just move on from him. bring in Kyrie, Gordon Hayward. Boom, Gordon Hayward gets hurt game one. They sign him to a massive contract. He's just sitting there on their bench eating this massive contract. Still make the playoffs. The next year, Kyrie ends up getting hurt, and Tatum, as a rookie, takes them to the Eastern Conference Finals. They don't miss a beat. I'm trying to think. Kyrie comes back. They give him back the reins of this team after Tatum just took them to the finals, and they still make the playoffs. And then the next year was the bubble. They had that massive Kemba Walker contract. He didn't pan out. Still make the playoffs. I mean, this team just keeps going and going and going. Last year they make the finals, whatever. With a coaching change, they make the finals. Like, how are they going to be with a new coach? Boom, NBA finals. Now another coach. It's like every year it's like something changes about this roster. And not like, they added a nice Enes Kanter, Enes Freedom, whatever. Like, I'm talking about headline changes, man. Kyrie, Isaiah Thomas, like now Marcus Smart's our point guard, Tatum, Brown, whatever. And yet they still seem to thrive. So this team is a very durable team, for whatever reason. But at some point, man, like, it's got to snap. Like, at some point, like, you've got for most teams, you've got a very small window. I mean, unless you got LeBron or whatever like that, most teams throughout history in every sport, you had a very small window to win. Yeah. And so, like, this is just bad. I think this is real bad because even last year with Ime as their new coach, they were 25-25, 50 games in the season. And then they finish out it wasn't until then that they went on that 26-6 run to finish out the season. So with a new coach, man, like, I'm not gonna say it's be starting over, but because you have the talent, they have experience, they have they've 2 NBA finals on their belts, so they have that. But I don't know, man. I think they're out. I think maybe they can make the Eastern Conference Finals. But I just don't see that this team just can keep doing this year in and year out. And I don't know. I think this knocks them out of definitely being favorites to make the finals in the East.
I think it's to your point. It's it's a culture shock. Because it's like, man, you felt like Boston was finally in a position similar to where they were when they had, Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and them guys. And, and if you think about it, they were all their core were drafted. They didn't spend money to bring in a lot of guys outside of like Brogdon. Really everybody they had on the team, Smart, Tatum, Brown, they were drafted. So it was homegrown. And, they just needed a guy to push them over the edge. And Udoka was that for him. And
right.
Now this situation.
So, yeah, that's a good point because, like, there could be some sort of animosity toward the team. Like, maybe their players don't think this is fair. Like, if Ime really is their guy. Because, it did seem like Brad
Stevens.
One of the problems was he didn't have a connection with his players. Mm-hmm. And that's why they brought in Ime. So I assume Ime had was able to make some sort of connection with these players. So if there's a chance that these guys don't think it was fair that this suspension compared to what he did, there could be animosity toward the team. It's a whole thing, man. I don't.
Yeah, this whole situation is going to be crazy. I guess we just gonna all have to see how it falls out throughout the season, especially with John making that point of him being so close with the players. I'm just curious of wondering if how well the players are going to play under Joe, especially with them having that same connection, different connection with Ime, I should say. Are they going to play as hard for him as they did for Ime, I should say?